Hello everyone, my name is Jaya Charbonneau and I'm doing my presentation on the effects that global warming has had on the Earth's natural resources. So I guess to get started, I just want to define exactly what global warming and natural resources are. So global warming essentially is an increased temperature in the Earth's atmosphere. This is caused by the greenhouse effect, which is an increase in carbon dioxide and other pollutants in the Earth's atmosphere. And then natural resources are materials or substances from the earth, like minerals, forests, water, and fertile land, and it all can be used for economic gain. So obviously, the warming of the globe affects the resources that we find on the earth. Um, and as I was doing my research, I noticed a few reoccurring areas of impact. The biggest one is obviously our environment, but in turn, our environment had an impact on our demographics as well as our economy. But our environment was definitely the most impacted by global warming and natural resource depletion. There's just been a bottleneck effect on our planet's natural resources. Flowers are blooming later in the season, and species of fish are getting fished out. There's just been a general overexploitation of our natural resources, with increasing pollution, habitat destruction, extinction, and global warming is furthering these negative effects with increasing intensity. Around half of the world's rivers are seriously depleted and polluted. 1/3 of the Earth's population is dependent on groundwater, and those groundwater levels are falling. While the environment is being destroyed and depleted of its natural resources, this has had a direct effect on our demographics. So, no matter where you are in the world, you're being affected by this. It doesn't matter your race, religion, class, or whatever else we can use to define us. The effects of global warming and natural resource depletion are being felt. One article said that by 2032, more than half the global population will face water shortages. This prediction is 10% higher than what they predicted in the mid 1990s, only 20 years ago. And the worst affected will be those living in the Middle East, where they're predicting 95% are forecasted to face water shortages. This article also said that over 70% of the Earth's land will be affected by roads, mining, cities, and just infrastructure developments. The population is set to increase by 2 billion in the next 30 years. So a lot more of the land is going to have to be used up for the increasing population. And as a result of our changing world, it seems that families are getting smaller and families have been shrinking much faster than expected. And economically, we all know raising a family is expensive. And I think one of the things we've discussed in our Project Green challenges is the actual price that we pay for things. And the price we pay for goods does not include these environmental costs. And we end up making up for these costs in other ways. The average American taxpayer forks out $2,000 a year to subsidize farming, driving, mining, and other things with a heavy environmental footprint. Which is why things like the gas tax are a pretty big issue. And I know that's something we definitely feel in Wisconsin. We get a lot of flack for our roads, and there's always the debate of gas tax. I think with all the political ads we've been seeing on TV, there's been a lot of fear mongering about they're going to raise the gas tax. And I mean, we're paying for it in other ways, obviously. And as a millennial, our future outlook with Social Security is looking pretty grim right now. The chances that we're going to be able to collect Social Security is slim to none. And for another disappointment, There's been a pretty disappointing response to global warming and diminishing natural resources. The funding for science institutions that study natural resources and ecological states are dealing with some pretty serious funding issues. Just generally, we're not investing into our future. So, what's the answer? I think everything that we've been talking about in this class has shown the impact that one person can have. Um, Buying organic and just being aware of the effect that you really have in the world does make a difference. But when we start looking at scary things about 2032, which really isn't that far away, and people aren't going to have water, we need to do something a little bit bigger, and we need policy change. So I'm going to encourage all of you to go out and vote next Tuesday. Making your voice heard with your vote is really one of the biggest steps that we can take in trying to make an impact and a difference on our changing world. So I guess thank you for listening to me today, and go out there and vote.